Very good evening, friends. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Yesterday night, I was in discussion with one of the bankers. You know that we are having a WhatsApp group in which only bankers are allowed, and that too, the bankers we know. Not everybody is allowed in that WhatsApp group. So we were discussing on an issue, and till late night we were chatting on the WhatsApp about a very critical issue, which is that an investor should invest his money in debt mutual funds or equity mutual funds. I respect his opinions and not trying to disregard. And we jointly decided to short this video, basically in the sense like he said, let's short this video and aware the people. So I put a very simple case before him, before we proceed for advanced level of discussions. I said, just assume that you invested 100 rupees in any debt fund. Simple, 100 rupees in any debt funds. And the debt fund is generating 6% return on a yearly basis. Now guys, remember, when I say 6% return on a yearly basis, I am the most conservative person in the life, because technically I am disrespecting the mark to market, which is definitely there in case of debt mutual funds. Example, tomorrow RBI come and say that I am cutting the repo rate by 25 bips because I wanted to stimulate the economy. Okay, you cut. If RBI cut the repo rate by 25 bips, then the whole debt category will register a mark to market of 25 bips. Logic is very simple, which is that the fund manager who bought a paper at 5%, assuming, now this paper is available in the market at 4.75%. It means that, or basically not bought, basically he invested, in the sense like he invested at 5%, and now this paper is at 4.75%, which practically means he invested 25 bips more than the current market situation. Now that is a very valid point, that the portfolio manager of a debt mutual fund need to take a call that how he would be giving this 25 bips, which is known as the mark to market gain, to the investors, either at one go or slowly. This is really a technical thing, because sometimes portfolio managers keep this money for the bad times. Not I mean to say keep this money in their pocket for the bad times. So when the bad times comes, they will give this mark to market. But in many cases, they give immediately to the investors. So I thought, let's have a simple mathematic, which is I invested 100 rupees and every year it is giving me 6% for 6 years. Simple, very simple. And you know how much I got? Around 41.85%. Precisely 42% with no mark to market. How many equity funds you know who is ready to give you that return? And when I speak about equity fund, I always carrying the data with me. That's more important. I never speak without data. You know that. Even if our research desk do the research, we research it with data, with facts, with numbers which are in the public domain. How many equity funds we know who are giving 42% return in 6 years? And more importantly, of course, there is a caveat here which I will disclose at the end of the video. The caveat is that we are living in the times when the credit risk is the most important risk across the globe. And India is not an exception in that regard. Forget India, Singapore is not an exception in that regards. By credit risk, I mean to say that anytime any company can collapse. This is a reality. And this situation will get aggravated in another 2 years. How? The so-called unicorns, those who are having billions of dollars of sales but zero profit, they are coming into the equity markets of India. IPO. And I'm sure that selected media, without quoting the name, will give super hype to these IPOs as usual. And since they give super hype, I know that people who do not understand these things, who do not know what is the meaning of profitability, what is PAT, and all these things, they come and invest. And later on, what happened, there was a time when Uber was at 100 billion of valuation. 100 billion. There was time when WeWork was at 50 billion valuation. There was time when Oyo was around 12 billion plus valuation. And now these OTT platforms like which is Byju's, Unacademy and all, they are now facing the same hype. Whenever you open newspapers, you will see that not less than 1 billion. They talk not less than 1 billion. Now they are facing the same hype. Maybe after 2 years, someone else will join and face the same hype. When these unicorns will come in public domain and raise IPO, not all, by the way, selected will come in public domain and raise IPOs. And when they would be raising the money, and it could be, of course, as a corporate, you cannot have certificate of deposit, you can only have commercial paper, or you can have non-convertible debentures, you can have other ways. And I'm sure that equity funds will definitely invest in these securities. Like today, if I wanted to collate the data, which is very simple data, that in the last 1 year, the total IPOs which were raised in the Indian market, different companies, different sectors, different different business lines, how many mutual funds in India bought these IPOs? If I wanted to collate this data, I do not have this data. It is not that the data is not available. Data is available, but I need months and months of research to collate this data. And by the time I collect this data would be old and it would be replaced by the fresh data, which again need months and months of research. Time is really limited. Now, the moral of the story is that if I invest in a debt mutual fund and hold it for 6 years at 6% return, I would be getting 42%. But once again, I would like to have a big caveat, one I already explained, which is the paper quality. In the debt mutual fund, the paper quality is definitely a big issue. And of course, tonight we would be talking about Franklin Mutual Fund in detail. But before I go ahead, let me have something for you. And that is about the Franklin. We know that what had happened with Franklin, the 6 funds that got closed: Franklin India Ultra Short Term Bond Fund, Franklin India Low Duration Fund, Franklin India Credit Risk Fund, Franklin India Short Term Income Plan, Franklin India Income Opportunity Fund. These funds are currently carrying, the data is as of 29th October. These funds are carrying around, one is Credit Risk Fund is around 3,500 crore of AUM. Dynamic Accrual Fund is around 2,500 crore of AUM. Income Opportunity Fund is around 1,631 crore of AUM. Low Duration Fund is around 2,500 crore AUM. Short Term Income Plan is around 5,300 crore AUM, while Ultra Short Bond Fund is around 10,000 crores of AUM. This is as per the data which is given. Paper quality is always a big issue, guys. That I'm telling you. One of the biggest issue in the debt mutual funds is the paper quality. And is so while I was discussing with my banker friend, he said, how can we resolve this? I said, it is very simple. The simple is that at the end of the month, you take the portfolio reports from your portfolio managers. And you can have that. It is not a big deal. Once you get the portfolio report from portfolio managers, compute 2 XIRR. What is XIRR? It is not IRR, it is XIRR. There is a difference. We have NPV, we have XNPV. Hey guys, modified internal rate of return, XIRR. And then we compute 2 XIRR. One is for the month, one is for the YTD. Example, today we are speaking 30th November, month is closed. Today is holiday in the Indian market, which means that the NAV declare is as at Friday. Which means whatever date Friday is, NAV declare as at Friday. It practically means that next week, when the December start, which is the last month of the year, we will get the portfolio reports. We will analyze the portfolio reports, and out of portfolio reports, we will compute two type of XIRR. One, how much we earned in that month, and one, how much we earned, YTD. It might be possible that in a month you earned 3%, might be possible, but YTD you are earning 7.5%. Ups and downs are the part of the life, happens, not a big deal, but this is very important. But if we compare this whole mathematics with the equity mutual fund, I don't think I need to explain you where equity mutual fund stands. I have explained number of times. And before I close the video, let me give you some statistics, because we are a company of numbers, we only speak statistics. Let me give you some statistics about my favorite fund, credit risk fund. It's not my favorite fund. 0.91, 1.3, 0.7, and please don't ask me. Majority of them is less than 1%. Majority of them is less than 1%. This is credit risk fund. And by the way, I hope how many of you are watching the video must be got two separate. Nowadays, there is a hype in the financial market, which is dividend yield opportunity fund. Another fancy term. Indian mutual fund industry is an excellent industry in terms of fancy words. And another, ESG opportunities fund. Oh my God. And I'm sure many people would be investing that. So guys, before you invest, think carefully, strategize your planning. Most importantly, read as maximum as possible, do research, understand that fancy things are always there in the market. Credit risk fund was also fancy few months ago, but now you know. So please stay away from fancy things, and more importantly, something, if anyone is committing, I will give you 10% return if you invest in credit risk fund. Please have your own mind before entering into such kind of schemes. And more importantly, considering the current scenario, choice is yours to going ahead with the debt fund or the equity fund. That I absolutely leave on you. But as an organization, as a company, as a hedge fund desk, I have decided to go for debt funds. We investing in debt funds, but we are very careful. We look at the portfolio of debt funds, we look at many aspects, we look at the credit ratings. I understand, the credit ratings, there are hell lot of issues we have as far as the credit rating is concerned. But we as a desk invested in debt funds, and more importantly, we continue to change, which is known as rotation. Like in the month of October, we rotated from one debt fund to another debt fund. And now we are planning to rotate one debt fund to another debt fund. This rotation policy must be there. So even if you are investing in debt funds, but the rotation policy has to be there. That is more important. So guys, that is really very, very important. And that is what I always said, that a bird in hand is better than bird in bush. To me, a debt fund who is giving me a 6% return for another 6 years, it would be giving me around 42% returns, excluding the impact of mark to market. But I will definitely not going to be investing any equity fund who probably may be giving me 20% return in the first month, and then hang on guys, hang on till years. That is, the rest call is definitely yours. And more importantly, as an investor, you need to learn how to read the portfolio status also. That is really very important. But unfortunately, most of the people do not know how to get this done. Like, to conclude this video, do we understand what is equity fund? Like, there are 5 equity schemes which we have: X, Y, Z, X1, Y1, 5 AMCs. Do we know that which AMC equity scheme is having beta greater than 1? Beta equals to 1, less than 1, equals to 0.5 or approximately 0. If an equity portfolio is having a beta of 0, this is definitely worthless. If it is having beta of 1, worthless. If it is having beta greater than 1, then you are sitting on the time bomb. If it is having beta 0.5, should be. And if it is having beta 0.3 to 0.5, precisely 0.4, closer to 0.4, should go. But most of the people even do not know how to compute the beta. And the hard reality, guys, majority of the mutual funds do not declare beta. That is another problem. So first, we do not know how to calculate. Another thing, they do not give. Net, we think, oh, these things do not exist. This is definitely your call, sir. This is what presented by Sheetal Academy School of Mutual Funds, you can say. Have a great time. Talk soon.